Hey everybody, it's Gypsy, and today is Saturday, June 22nd, 2024. This is my last Saturday going to the flea market for 2 months because we closed down for summer activities at the county fairgrounds. So tomorrow's my last day. Probably going to spend most of it packing up my stuff. Anyways, so this morning I like to listen to Russell Brand. It used to be that both politically and I hate the word politically, but more like how people should live, as in, as you wish, live as you wish, be your true self. Being spiritually, we used to be very similar. But, now he has converted to Christianity, so he loses me a lot if he starts talking about religion. However, in his ideals for the way the world is, and how he'd like to see things, we have the same. Well, I get, here in America, considered a libertarian, I guess. Anyways, he had Alex Jones on today. It was a very fascinating conversation. Some of the stuff the two of them talked about I agreed with, and some I did not. Now, this is normal and it's acceptable. We do not always have to be in agreement with each other 100% of the time. We are all unique beings with our own unique life experiences, ideas, etc. We need to learn to accept that. And, if you don't agree with somebody, so be it. You don't have to beat them up, nor do you have to be rude to them. Anyways, I lost my train of thought again. Probably because of these roadwork signs. I'm trying to pay attention to that. It is Saturday morning. Nobody's going to be working. So I'm trying to think what it was they first said that I wanted to mention. But they did. Here's one thing they talked about. Alex Jones, I think he has actual tangible knowledge, where with me it was more an intuitive feeling about things that happen in this world and how and why they do. Now, all right, here's the first thing I was trying to grasp is, I believe at the beginning of humanity, we knew who we truly were, and we knew the powers that we possess. Now, please bear in mind that my belief system, I don't know if I want to call it a belief system, it kind of takes the freedom of growth away from it, but we literally, not that, I don't look at God as a parental figure, but as creator, and God created me, and that I kind of look at it like, and it is metaphorical, but I kind of look at it like God took a piece of itself and created me. Okay? And that goes for everyone, not just me. Isn't it gorgeous here? I'm so blessed to live here. Anyways, and because of that, and because we are truly spirits currently incarnated in a physical body, we do have certain abilities, and we knew that at one time in our history. However, I have this feeling that there has been a lot of brainwashing over like thousands of years, maybe I don't know how long, but into us believing we're something we're not. Powerless, first of all, and that we're not spiritual, so we couldn't possibly have any abilities. If we're a part of God, how can we not? Am I saying I'm greater than God? No. not at all. I'm a small piece of God. There's so many of us. How could we be a huge piece of God, okay? So anyways, it's been brainwashed out of us. So we have forgotten who we truly are in our power. And we are more powerful than we've been led to believe. And that has been by design. Because there are those in this world, and I'm not going to get technical in how they do this, where they're getting it from, etc. I don't want to get into that at the moment. I don't even know how many of you can handle that information. I don't know. Some people can, some people can't. But they don't want us to know. Because there are so fewer of them than there are of us. And people are starting to understand, to remember who they truly are and their power and stuff. So that's why things are so scary right now, because the powers that were are afraid. They're losing their power. I mean, frankly, I don't care anymore. I don't care what they, what they tell us to do. It's, it's not what I want for my life. So I do believe that we are not powerless because we come from God. Okay? So you do have those who have mental illness, and there are varying degrees of mental illness. So this is not a broad sweep of everybody who has mental illness. It all depends on what type of mental illness you have. But there are some who have, either are so severe or have been messed with so badly that they're easily manipulated and convinced of things that are not true. So, if they start expressing themselves publicly, and the powers that were get a hold of this and think they can use this person to their advantage, they will. And I think that's how they get certain bad events to happen, is by coercing others. Because these people either think they have no power whatsoever and have to listen to these people, or they go in the extreme opposite way and think they have actually, I don't know if I want to say more power or the right to use this power in a very negative manner towards others. So they're easily persuaded. It's a very interesting conversation between the two of them. And I'm trying to think what else it was they spoke of. Now, I am I'm an extremely spiritual person, but I am so far from being religious. It's not even, to me, they're two different things. They are. I mean, you can have a combination of the two, but separately, to me, they're just two totally different things. Religion and spirituality are different. And to me, I look at religion as just being one of those entities that have participated in controlling humanity. So I don't have a lot of trust. So I just feel if you're just not thinking, then, you're, I don't know. Anyways. Both Alex and Russell got on an extremely religious tangent. It almost lost me. I almost turned off the video because here's my problem with religion. And you guys know, I feel like if you are on a religious path that is truly helping you grow spiritually, then go for it. Keep going. Because we're all unique and we don't all go about this the same way. We cannot. Okay? So if it's working for you, do it. But what you must remember is that just because it works for you does not mean it works for everyone. Everybody has their own unique way to grow spiritually. That being said, we must remember that there is not one or two religious paths or spiritual paths that have it right, that is the right one. There is not just one religion who has morals. We need to remember that. I think when we are breaking us down as humanity into religious groups, or any group, but especially religion, we are doing ourselves a great disservice because we are dividing ourselves, and we need to be united to get our freedom back. Because I don't care if you think we're free, we're not. We're not. Okay? And we cannot do this separated. So you cannot say, oh, well, my group has to do it because we're the only ones with morals. Well, are you so sure about that? Is forcing your beliefs on someone else, is that freedom? If you're trying to take away somebody else's freedom and right to choose, that's not really having morals, in my opinion. It's not doing good. It's not freedom. But anyways, so they ended. Russell started praying, which, you know, I believe in prayer. We don't all do it the same, and we don't. I was a Christian for 45 years. The last church I was in was more to the extreme side. I don't want to say it was extremist, but it leaned a little bit more in that direction. And so I know how this thing with prayer works. So Russell prayed, and then when Russell was done, he stopped and said amen. Well, Alex, you know, he chose not to continue on with the prayer. And I know that feeling from being in a church like that, because what happens is you get on this prayer tangent and somebody starts praying out loud, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing. But when you stop and you're trying to hand the baton off to someone else who, for whatever reason, doesn't want to pray out loud. Now, for me, I was always very shy. I also grew up Catholic. So being very shy, I'm not really going to express myself, especially when I'm talking to my Creator, to an audience. Also, there was another reason, is that, well, if the person who just prayed said everything I was feeling and wanted to express out universally, well, what would be the point of me repeating it? Okay? And I don't know for sure, but I have a feeling that's how Alex Jones was feeling. Not to mention it was the end of the program, but so when Russell stopped, Alex didn't say anything. We just, you know, and Russell's looking like, well, you're going to say, you're going to pray, you're going to... And then when he finally got the hint, no, he kind of chuckled a little bit and carried on. The comments I read, beating the crap out of Alex Jones. Now, I was aggravated because they were just getting too spiritual, and I wanted to talk about what's really going on. And you guys know, I don't believe that people are inherently evil. Okay? I don't. You could be talked into it. If you're weak enough, you could buy into it. Or you could just choose to be evil. But no, we're not inherently evil. Anyways, He was really, and I thought, how stupid. Oh, he didn't, he just sat there looking blank, didn't even say amen in agreement. Why does he have to do it the way you do it? And I'm sorry, I mean, he has some mental issues he needs to work out. Someone, I think, implied he was being fake with his religion. I mean, come on. Well, that's the one thing. The one verse Christians like to ignore is judge not, yes, lest you be judged. You don't know what was going on in Alex Jones' head. I don't know. I guess maybe it could be what I have felt in the past. I don't know. But it really got to me that one, he was, all of a sudden, Russell, just because Russell had the urge to pray, that Alex should be forced into it too. And if he chose not to, I mean, see, this is my problem with religion, right? That's one of my biggest ones right there. So anyways, we need to put down the division of religion to get through this. We need to unite, no matter what our spiritual path or religious path is. I believe in morals, yes. Okay, and it is not just the Abrahamic religions who have morals. I'm sorry, they are not the only ones. They do not have a monopoly on God, especially Christianity thinks they have a monopoly on God. No, you do not. We all come from God. Nobody has a monopoly. We're all from the same place. Okay? And yeah, I know where you guys are going to go with that. I really don't care. Been there, done that. We got to let that go. Do your own thing. If it works for you, by all means, go for it. But do not expect everyone else to go with you. And do not, think that you're the only ones who got it right. You don't. Don't put down others because they don't have the same faith you do. The 10 Commandments, okay? That's what I call, common sense. All of those. All 10 Commandments are common sense. And just because in the Judeo-Christian religions it was written down does not mean they have... Maybe that was a close one. I almost went with a squirrel. They don't. I mean, all right, so then we've got this thing with the 10 Commandments, I think in Louisiana, where you can put up in the schools. Now, because they're common sense rules, I don't have any problem with that. But here's my problem. What I am worried about most. Okay, how I believe in freedom, etc. Love is so important to me. Respect for others, and humanity in general. But what I'm afraid of is that when we get on the other side of this, that my country, the United States of America, is going to insist on Christianity and Christianity only. And therefore, we still are not free. Okay? That's a huge problem. It's a problem. I'm worried about that. There will be no separation of church and state. We are talking about school. I can kind of deal with, just put the 10 Commandments up there. You don't have to get religious about it, because again, this is what common sense things parents teach their children. Oh Lord, I'm in the city. So I'm afraid that then they're going to try to turn the public schools totally the other way, from having no God whatsoever until, no, you have to go with our one specific religion. So we're going to go with, all right, first 10 Commandments on the wall. But then we're going to have prayers and Christian Bibles, etc. everywhere. We have to remember this is America. And there are people of different beliefs in spiritual paths. So unless we can figure out a way, and I think, all right, having these rules, no matter how you slice that one, that is godly, obeying or not, listening to your inner self, because inside we all know the Ten Commandments are correct, and that is how one should live, regardless of religion. So I am worried we're going to go too far the other way. Everybody has a right to their own spiritual path and spiritual growth, and we cannot force it in the schools. So unless we can figure out a way that does not make something all one religion, we need to continue on with separation of church and state. Because I'm afraid we're going to have, what's that called? Where there is a state religion. I'm afraid that's where we're headed on the other side of this, because people have been acting so immorally. I see a lot of immoral shit in this world, and I agree with that. It's horrible. We need to start honing into our intuition and knowing who we truly are to stop that shit. And how do we do that? By connecting with Creator God. But you have to do it in your way. Always listen to yourself, your intuition, and what it tells you. If you can connect with the divine, you can hear your intuition, and it will not steer you wrong. Remember, the people who are talking to you about their religious path, they're human just like you are. Okay? We cannot lose the separation of church and state. As much as I love spirituality, we need to allow people to be their own unique selves and connect with our Creator in their own way. And while I'm saying these things, I can see like a list of attacks and questions I might get on this, rebuttals. But I can't address them all. I mean, God, I've never talked this long on the way to the flea market. I'm nearly there. I don't know. I worry that we're just going to go from one tyranny into another, thinking we did the right thing, and that we don't see. We just took off one shackles and put on another. I don't know. It is, I believe, it is truly important to believe there is something bigger than yourself. That there is more out there than just what you see here. Earth is not, this plane is not it. There is so much more. And we have a Creator. Okay, we have a God, if you want to word it that way. It's important to know that. But what's not important is that you do it someone else's way. Okay? You got to do it your way. You got to know who you truly are and be healthy and happy well enough to, physically and emotionally enough to connect with our Creator in your own way. Anyways, I'm going to stop. Ooh, garage sale. Never mind. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to leave you with that. Blessed be, and make it a joyful one.